Baby.
No, is it 2:15 or it's 4 o'clock? We should definitely do a show.
Oh wow, what a weird time for a show. We should have taken today off. Maybe we planned a little bit better.
Seems a little late now.
Too late.
Here we go.
What is everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast. Live from the Toyota Lounge Room by your Front Range Toyota Stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We're also presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 2 days away from... It's weird because today is like... Everybody's like, basketball is back. The NBA is back today. And I still feel like 2 days is a long time.
I know. Some people obviously today, but then everyone else tomorrow, you'd think, well, no. Some of us on Thursday.
Literally the last team to play.
I'll tell you why I'm okay with it. Because the season preview just came out on DNVR.com. So a little time to marinate. And if you are feeling antsy between now and Thursday... Tap into a jam-packed season preview that has a lot of facts, a lot of analysis, but I also think a lot of narrative-based analysis.
Yeah.
And I like that because we're going to be following these through lines from training camp to the end of the year. So get your finger on the pulse of your Denver Nuggets now at thednvr.com.
It's like 7,000 words, which I know is a lot. You're not going to read it all in one setting, but what I will say, it's laid out so nicely that you can just kind of keep it open on your desktop, keep it open, and just read a couple sections because we all took turns. I haven't written in a long time, man. It felt really good to write again. I actually really enjoyed it.
And you wrote really well. I was really pleased, man, with your contributions and Harrison's. And shout out to AJ Hafley, who edited, and Yahir, by the way, who made some great custom graphics for us. So I appreciate everyone's help.
Plan though, I was gonna say though, I liked writing so much, and each of these articles took me maybe like an hour and a half, and I was like, you know what, I gotta mix this back into writing. Is like, you've been writing a lot lately. It's kind of almost therapeutic.
It's really great. It's one of those things. It's actually a little bit like going to the gym. If you've stopped doing it, and
I totally get what you mean.
Again, it's exhausting. You don't want to, and you may just not do it. But if you're in a rhythm, you don't want to skip it. And so I hope to be, I know I'll be in that rhythm all season long. Lock in with us at thednvr.com.
Yeah, and it's another way it's like that is it kind of like strengthens your brain. You know, we talk about it, and it's cool. We're always thinking about it. We're talking about it. When you have to sit down to write, it almost organizes your thoughts a little bit more.
Then you hop on a podcast, you stumble on a point, and you realize, I've written this before, and you kind of know exactly how to say it.
By the way, man, this was an incredible week. We're going to have a great show for you today. We had the media pickup game that we'll talk about. We also had media availability with Christian Braun today, which was really good, and a bunch of other stuff.
Maybe it's just me. Christian was in a good mood today, I thought.
He was. Don't spoil it. Okay. Don't bury the lead, but you're right that he was in an interestingly good mood. So there's a lot of stuff to get to. We'll get to all of it, but I am glad. We had the documentary yesterday, which I really love. If you haven't watched it, as soon as this is over, go watch it. I promise you, if you watch this show, you're going to love that documentary. Yep. It's like a S-tier version of this show in movie form.
It's long form, well produced, well thought out DNVR content. If you like what we do, you'll like the work that Anna Mares and Ryan Green did there.
And the homies came out last night for our live premiere, and you know, we filmed it. I think we'll have some stuff going out eventually from it, but I don't know how you feel, man. The off season is long. It was kind of cool to be with the homies again. And, you know, people obviously, you know, like it. We had Q&A. People had nice things to say to us, but it was just nice to be reminded. Like, it's cool seeing the chat. Yep. But it's kind of nice seeing the people in real life and being like, oh, yeah, man, this is like the community. You know, this is like a thing that people kind of make their life built around.
It's the coolest part, right, of what we have a very cool job, but when we get it right, what we're wanting to do, it just creates a place to go locally, some local culture, a place to hang out, a place to enjoy the things you like about your city. That's what this bar is. That's what it was last night. It felt like opening a night for us. And I really appreciate all the work everyone put into that night. It was a good time.
On the bar point, it was great to see a full bar too, you know, last night. And I'm going to make this plea to you guys. We love our bar. We really want it to be in peak form. Colfax is doing a 2-year construction project here, and the doors are closing on businesses left and right now. Right. And I'm telling you, we are going to feel it. Like, I mean, we would really appreciate it if you made it out to the bar
Yes.
this year. So if you're 50-50 nights, you're 50-50 on coming, please come.
Please do.
There's construction up and down, so it's a little bit of a pain in the ass to get to. But, it's good. Everybody on Colfax is hurting right now because of it. So support the bar.
Hashtag back the facts is what they're saying, which I've been doing as best I can. This is my neighborhood now, Adam. I live here
that's
too.
right.
I'm on Colfax every day, and all my favorite places are closing. So please help us out.
Help
Please.
us out, man. But we will have a very cool platform for the bus here in 2 years' time. The media pickup game today, I know a lot of people are interested. So the Celtics did this pickup game with the media, and it seemed like it was a bit of an impromptu thing. Like you saw the one that they had, it was like a handful of people, and they show up, and Mazzulla and his like classic tough guy thing was like, and by the way, we're just not a pickup for you guys. You're playing against the coaches, and then like storms off. Like it's, I can't tell if he's doing a bit. I think he is, but I think he is a meta imposter, that he has been playing this bit for so long that he is now more bit than he is man.
It's a great take. He doesn't know where Joe Maz begins and where it ends. I couldn't agree more.
Like it's not really him, but it is now.
And he also, by the way, after it was all done, did a great press conference. He broke down the stage so he could sit eye level with the media, and he talked all about how that was a bonding experience. And I just want to say, if you're a coach who's prepared to take a step backwards as a team for a year, what a brilliant move.
Yeah, what a brilliant
move.
Well, the Nuggets copied it, well, kind of. They got the idea to copy it today, and it was, I think in some ways a very thoughtful event. They had jerseys for everybody. Kale, pull up my Twitter, by the way, if you can, real quick. I'll cue you up for something. But they had jerseys for everybody that was like really nice jerseys, actually. Nuggets jerseys that was there. It was cool. Everybody was kind of friendly. What I'll say is, how many people do you think make up Nuggets media? If like on an average game, how many people make up Nuggets media?
10 would be a lot.
10 is like a busy game,
10
right?
is a busy game.
There were 60 people there today.
Yeah, I noticed
Which
that.
means in this media game, first of all, none of the assistant coaches played. It was all the player development guys. So it wasn't even the coaching staff. Like Bud Dudley, Braun, everybody wanted those guys. None of them played. Adelman, none of them were even there. I thought maybe they would be there watching and this or that. Everybody left. There was nobody in the gym other than the player development guys. And 60 people, 30 of whom I'd never seen before.
I was trying to figure out if it was like a big game or something. Like I know Christian Braun had an extension. I was looking around going, what is happening?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone wanted in on this media game, man.
So it was a bunch of people. And again, very nice people. It's not like, this is not even a complaint. Anybody deserves to go. And I think it was a very cool thing for media to get to kind of participate in. I played 4 minutes.
It did throw off the balance of competition.
So the way it worked is we all got in a line, and like a conveyor belt, 5 people would go out and play for 4 minutes, then go off. 5 people would go in, go off. 5 people kind of go in. So it was kind of this weird thing, and it was just a running tally or whatever. I got to play with Vic and Katie, the homies. We got 8 of the 16 points in our 4 minutes.
Well done, sir. Well done. And a great job by you getting that out of the way 8 minutes into the show.
Well, we had to. The score was like 114 to 16 or something.
I did see that.
But there were 60 people, and like there were just a handful. I think the television people really enjoyed this one because there was like, you saw afterwards, after the game, everybody did their television hit where it was like, well, the Denver Nuggets are ready for the season, but you know who's also ready? The Denver Nuggets coaching staff.
Well, the Celtics successfully, and their media did such a good job of making it a big deal that any part of it that was organic was lost by the time it got to another organization.
Yeah, exactly.
But cool of the Nuggets to put it on, and cool of you guys to score half the points. Well done, brother.
Well, I think, and that is the thing. I actually think it is cool. Like, there is something about trying to bond media and team. Like there's this weird, we always say invisible wall. And some of that was there. It was weird that the gym was pretty much empty other than these people, Although I will say Christian Braun did come by in such a good mood that he actually came by. He arrived at the end, basically maybe halfway through, and watched for 20 minutes or so. So he was there, which is kind of funny. Katie, when she called it, she said, I asked her, I was like, you think any of the players? She said, no, but Christian Braun will be maybe the only one. And he did.
Because Christian is the only man on earth who didn't want to leave work today. It's like, it's actually really cool in here.
He was waiting for the gym to clear so he could get his second workout of the day in.
Yep.
I think you might be right. But yeah, that was... So that was it. Like I don't even know what I was looking online to see if there was any highlights or something. I'll tell you, there are 3 guys on the Nuggets player development staff that are pretty elite. Ben Potts, who, these guys are all like 25. They're fresh out of college, maybe played in Europe for a little bit. Ben Potts, Aziz, and Cam Griffin. again, like I think everybody was like, Berea, did Dudley do this? They weren't even in the gym. It was those guys, but those guys are like pretty freaking good, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it looks like it. It looks like they had no problem scoring on you guys. I know it was a big shuffle, but when I saw 16, I thought, well done. And then my eyes moved just a little bit left to the other side of that scoreboard.
Yeah.
Defense was lacking.
Yeah, well, mostly it was just, there were like a handful of the fives, because it was a conveyor belt of fives. There were some that didn't get a single shot off.
Yeah.
And only half the time did they get the ball like up the court. It was like a one pass turnover, breakaway dunk.
Was Rodney Billups out there?
Rodney Billups, there's a coach. Travis Armenta, Munson, our guy Muntz was out there.
Shout out Munson.
Who else? Was there one more guy? I might be forgetting one guy. I can't remember who. Oh, JB, our guy John Beckett.
Oh, JB.
So he was the oldest guy. He's like my age. So there's one old guy.
He's been trying to get you to hoop for a while.
Yeah, we played for 4 minutes. It was great. I was 0 for 1, I will say. I had one post up and drew the foul. I actually got him on a good one. Nice little spin move, got him in the air. Drew the foul. But then it's like one of those things where you're like, why did I just draw a foul? Because you don't get free throws. You just recheck the ball up. And I was like, well, I got him.
I'm counting that as a bucket in my head.
And then I had a pretty nasty air ball at the buzzer. I mean, it was at the buzzer, but whatever.
No, listen.
But
I think this is
I think we lost. Our team, me, Vic, Katie, and I don't remember who the other two were on our team. But I think we lost probably like 13-8 because again they didn't keep score. It was a running tally. I think we came in, it was like 70-0.
Right.
And then I think they might have beat us like 13-8.
Well, listen, individually
not
that was
bad.
An impressive display of modesty by you there in these last few minutes, just keeping it real about your box score. But
I did tell you I had 0 points.
That's what I'm saying. No, I admit that. That was honestly actually very modest of you. But people
0 turnovers too, though.
People were wanting to know if you, Vic, and Katie in particular could make a difference. It sounds like you did.
A difference. If out of 14 points, we get 8 of them. Yes, I think we made a small dent. Shouts to Zach Bai. He won MVP. I think he had 6 points. I think he had all the other points that were scored. So only 2 groups scored, ours and Zach Bai's.
Zach Bai, who threw an alley-oop to All-City's Jason Timpf at the 3-on-3 tournament.
Hadn't played basketball, he said, in 3 years.
I could tell because someone fell on his leg and he was so mad. He was so mad, but it didn't stop him from throwing a great oop.
Actually, speaking of which, I think it was Zach Bai actually gave him a hard foul on a breakaway. It was kind of a hard foul, I won't lie. And there was a little chest to chest.
Oh, no kidding. Munson too, huh?
I was like a little tense moment. And I think it was because they were trying to throw an oop on him, and so he kind of like fouled to not get it.
Sure.
And you be the judge here. You're in this pickup game. There's cameras everywhere, and they're going to try to dunk on you.
They're trying
and so
to
you prevent it by giving kind of a hard foul, not a hard foul, but by like wrapping up. Who's in the wrong here?
Hey, listen. When the Wolves come into Ball Arena and they start whooping up on Denver, I'm like, knock someone to the ground, dude.
Exactly.
Show some pride. I have no problem with it.
I kind of felt like, you know what?
I love that it was Munson. If anyone has footage of that, I'll pay you for it.
It was a tense 3 seconds, I would say. Tense 3 seconds.
All jokes aside, shout out to the Nuggets for doing that.
And do you have the poster thing I have? That was the thing I was going to show you. So my daughter, Ellie, last night, it was so great, man. I was so happy my wife and kids got to be here last night for the premiere. And go to the one before that. Go up below. So if you can see this, I walked to put my daughter to bed last night. She has last year's team, the poster for last year's team, and she drew X's over the players that
I
have
saw
been
that,
traded.
dude. I was cracking up at this, man.
And this isn't something she showed me. It was like on her desk or on her dresser. And I was like, babe, what did you do? And she's like, well, they're not on the team anymore.
She's just been doing it herself. She missed the DeAndre Jordan news.
Well, somebody from the Nuggets marketing team saw that, and so they walked up to me and handed me a new one. Said, we saw your post.
Really
get her going. I thought that was so cool.
That actually is really that's a nice touch from Nuggets marketing.
So kudos to the Nuggets, man, for doing something like this. I do think it's cool. They did it back in 2018. Harrison was the MVP winner then. Zach Bai gets the MVP tonight, and although it was a bit of a weird thing to participate on this side of it, like it was a little bit weird. It was, I think it was a cool event. A lot of people had a lot of fun.
Very cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad they did it.
I said a lot of people enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm glad a lot of people enjoyed themselves. I'm glad a lot of people enjoyed it.
All right, on the other side, though, we're going to take a break. On the other side, that's the update for you. On the other side, we do want to talk about, so this is kind of like part 2 of the Christian Braun extension because we had D-Line and Harrison do the emergency show yesterday.
Yeah.
We'll do our own version of that today and talk about it, as well as give you an update of what Christian had to say. Very good mood, and I thought it was interesting hearing from him today.
Oh, we drew the long stick there. We get to use quotes and everything. Drawing the long stick, that's like when you go to a fridge at a party or your house and you open it and you're looking for a cold one. and they got tons of Miller Lights in there. You know what I mean? Short stick would be any other light beer. Those are imposters. If you did not know, Miller Lite's been doing this since 1975, and it's still iconic 50 years later. As a wise man or woman once said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Genuinely have no idea where that came from, but everyone uses it, and it's apt for Miller Lite, which is brewed for taste. Simply put, it just hits different. Despite, of course, being a light beer, and if you're on the wrong side of 30, like your boy over here, all of a sudden light beers start making a whole lot of sense. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/DNVR to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. We're not done though. That was just Bet365. All right, that was just Miller Lite, excuse me. Now I want to tell you about a place that I was just at, actually. I was just at Dick's Sporting Goods. Really had a hard time getting there, by the way. It took me 25 minutes to get a lift, but that's not part of this ad read. Colorado, stop by your local Dick's Sporting Goods like I did today for your hottest apparel and footwear from top brands like Nike, Adidas Originals, FP Movement, VRST, Calia, and DNVR, by the way. And I saw some DNVR shirts hanging there in the Broncos section. A real treat. I almost got them, and then I realized I have them already because I work here. Score the latest equipment up, by the way, for baseball, football, soccer, basketball, golf, and all your tailgating essentials. If you found a lower price, they'll match it with their best price guarantee. And I've been taking a lot of flack from someone in the chat for not having any Nuggets hats, so I got myself one at Dick's. Get your gear fast with free curbside pickup at your nearest store or easy shipping from Dicks.com, because every season starts at Dick's, and of course our season starts here in just 48 hours, Adam. What a treat.
I know, I can't wait, man. All right, if you guys are watching along, throw us a like. Make sure you check out all the content. We had the tarot episode also yesterday. Went good, I would say.
Great tarot card episode. Seriously, we were so nervous to do it. If you were worried that we disturbed the vibes, go check out for yourself. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
All right, let's go to Nuggets practice today. So we talked to Christian Braun. He is the $125 million man. He signs a 5-year, $125 million extension. First of all, on the extension, the only thing that's surprising to me about this, 5 years versus 4, and I have to imagine this was part of the negotiation. If you give him a 4-year deal, does he want 27, 28 per? You know, I think I'd heard that they'd started at 31. Nuggets start at 22 and they meet at 25. But one of the ways you meet there is you say, okay, we're going to give you a full 5 years. So 25 a year, to me, in my opinion, is good value for him. I think he's a very good player. That's kind of the going rate for a good role player. But giving him the 5 years, to me, was the big one. And it's $125 million guaranteed. 5 years, man, it just makes you think that when you sign those long-term contracts in today's NBA, you almost look at that and say they're committed to him for at least 3.
Yeah.
I don't know that you're going to trade a guy with 4 years left on the deal unless it's a blockbuster-y type trade. So almost certainly 3 more years after this year, that's 4 more seasons of Christian Braun. That's the part to me that I think is meaningful. The number I was expected, 5 years, tells me he's going to be here for a long time.
5 years and no options, by the way, as reported by Bennett Durando of the Denver Post. No options, player or club. So it is a 5-year, true 5-year contract. And I'm with you. I expect Christian to be around for a good part of it. I like the way you framed it, because I think that this deal is best described as a good compromise.
Yeah.
Good compromise. I think like a truly team-friendly deal, maybe it's closer to 22 per year. Maybe it's only the 4 years. Maybe you get a club option even, right? Or something like that. For Christian, obviously, the most player-friendly deal here would have been closer to 30 or 28 or whatever the really high, lofty number was. So I do look at this as a compromise. Dyson Daniels then comes in and signs a 4-year, $100 million contract. So just for an example of how, like, all right, same annual value there, but only the 4 years. I don't think either side here, the Nuggets or Christian Braun's camp, ripped the other one off. I think it's a solid compromise, and as Christian said today, they can focus on basketball now, which is the whole goal.
By the way, man, this is why, like, people sometimes will say, like, oh, you guys ask bad questions in the media, or what do you expect this or that? preseason long, Christian Braun has said, it's not a distraction, hasn't been on my mind. I'm just out here to hoop. I'm not thinking about anything other than hooping. Today, immediately, I'm so glad that's out. It was such a distraction. It was so
Now
hard.
I could just focus on basketball.
Now I can just focus. And he even said, like, what I found most interesting about what Christian said today was, he said, I didn't really like the negotiation part. I just hated it because it kind of makes you feel like you're enemies.
Yeah.
You and the team. And that tells you how tough this was. So I love it's not a distraction, straight line, all that stuff. Just know, man, this is why the job is hard. You know players are not going to say anything honestly when you ask too directly. So it's almost like you have to ask around the edges of stuff to see what gets revealed that kind of gives you insight. But now that it's out of the way, he's like, yeah, man, it sucked. Because I had to it felt like they were my enemy for a while, and it was a huge distraction, and now I get to move on.
And I mean, Christian, we heard that his approach in the training camp was similar. You know, he played really hard, but we also know he took some of those pickup games off in the summer, understandably, to be clear, because the last thing you want to do when you're staring at $125 million is get hurt. So yes, of course it affected his process. Of course it impacted him mentally. Honestly, truly, thought exercise, which we don't even need to do because you all know, honestly, try to imagine that tomorrow someone might promise you $125 million guaranteed, but you've got a job to do today, and can you just focus on that?
Right.
Probably not.
Right.
Probably not. So, but I do think Christian, with a very nice payday in his pocket, genuinely does want to be about the basketball as much as possible. That's what got him that $125 million.
I think he's a pretty simple guy.
Yep.
I mean, wouldn't you say? I don't think that, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. I just don't know that he's a guy that needs a ton of distractions in his life and has a whole lot of things. I think he likes basketball. I think he has kind of has his group of friends.
He
and
likes
stuff.
Kansas a lot.
Likes Kansas. So
yeah, basketball's up there.
And so, he gets all this money, and I don't think, I think he's kind of happy just now to have this generational wealth behind him and can get back to doing what he would have done anyway. Here's the thing. Is he going to dress differently? He wears his sweats to the game.
I don't know if he will, because he's he's like an AAU basketball.
Yeah.
He goes out to get lunch in his basketball gear.
Exactly. What do you need that stuff for? I can't get to see him getting the big chain.
I mean, Jamal's still a dress down kind of tech suit guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Jumpsuit guy to this day, and he's made a lot of money. So no, I don't think really much about Christian Braun's going to change at all, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that the organization really enjoys about having him in the picture.
I did ask him, and I just love this. Tells you who Christian is. I said, "What did Jamal and Nikola have to say to you? Did they kind of joke with you or anything else after you signed this?" And he said, "They said congrats, but I had more to say to those guys. It's they tease. They've been teasing since we got to camp because they knew it was coming." But I had more to say to them. I was just very grateful. I told Nikola thanks. Told Jamal Murray thanks, and that's what I love about it is. He is so confident. We'll get to his confidence here in a little bit, but he is so confident. But at the same time, he also knows what this is. His confidence comes from a real understanding of what this is. And he's like, man, Nikola, thank you for this contract.
If you ask
but
him,
also thank me.
No, 100%. If you ask Christian too directly about the kind of gluing yourself to Jokic thing, he'll push back. But it's what he did. And it was really wise. If you were trying to secure a lot of money and be a long-term future in Denver, and you were a young player, I would probably do everything Jokic does and says. And Harrison Wind wrote a great article that you can find on the DNVR.com, a lot of good content up there right now, about the chemistry on and off the court that Christian has developed with Jokic. Jokic has joked he's in the market for some new friends. I think Christian has put himself up there as a strong candidate. And he knows what this is, man. Christian made this money by becoming the perfect Jokic ball player. And obviously on the foundation of his work ethic, his skill set, everything he's capable of. So I'm not taking anything away from him, but he knows exactly what this is. And it's why I was kind of always confident that no matter how this went, the last thing we were going to see was Christian Braun give up on the court alongside 15. It's just not in his DNA.
I will say this, though, just to kind of go back to the point. If you signed a $125 million contract, how do you think your appearance? Would you dress differently?
100,000,000%.
Really?
Yeah, 100,000,000%.
Your style would be turned up?
I would get a stylist.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. And they would go, all right, the flower shirts were cute. They got to go.
Yeah.
And then I'd see what they do from there. A lot would change, brother. You would see the signs. You would see the signs.
I love it,
Shoot,
man.
I'm on a sports reporter salary. I just got a nose job. So I can breathe. so I can breathe.
I like this idea that you become a completely like unrecognizable person with 125 million.
Vogt, what happened to your forehead wrinkles?
That's
You smell
incredible,
better.
man. Let's go move on to David Adelman here because I always find what he has to say at these things very interesting. I will say the group was very excited for Christian Braun. I think he's very beloved by everybody in that building because I think he's just like the humble young guy who came in, put his head down, and did his work. So obviously there was a lot of gratitude for him. And he was asked about what part of his development has improved, and he cited two things. The first thing he said was his confidence. He just said he's so confident right now. Do you remember what Michael Malone said last year about Christian Braun coming into the year? Or maybe it was after the championship year. Maybe it was then. That he's walking around the gym like a guy who won a championship or something like that.
Yep.
And it's funny because we don't think of confidence as a skill. But I do think that with Christian, it is something where it's like he's been in the system. Now he's a starter. He's done things all the time now that he does just have this like quiet, calm confidence to him where you're like, yeah, man, that guy doesn't feel out of place doing anything.
Yeah, 100%. A winner and now a paid winner, by the way. And a guy who just doubled his points per game in 1 year. He's not going to do that again, I assume. But I also assume you're walking around going, yeah, I actually belong here, right? I've won, I've gotten paid, I've increased my production. And we know that Christian's not satisfied, but how could you not be, as a rookie, even with Christian's pedigree and history of winning, how could you not be a little slow to let your personality come out, to let your confidence blossom, right? In a brand new environment with the big boys in the big leagues. And, we said at the time, where's that fire from Christian, that confidence we've seen in Kansas? I think it's been coming out slowly and surely, and I think we'll see plenty of it this year.
The other skill for him, so confidence is one of them, and I love that one. But the other one was ball handling. And I think that one is a great one too. I actually second this, and something we've been talking about. Christian has a pretty good handle and kind of a dynamic one too. Not like he's going to be Kyrie Irving beating you off the dribble, but like when he's in transition, it's straight line drives, but you still have to be able to like make some like little quick moves, downhill moves. And now in the pick and roll, we've seen some of the like stuff he's been doing, getting to the rim, fake pass, go up, then get the pass. Like I think that part of his game is the part. I think he's going to be a good pick and roll, not dynamic scorer, but pick and roll like with crafty dribbling. And I kind of like that he called that out because it's what I think I'm seeing.
I agree, and I'm going to echo a point that Harrison Wynn made throughout the preseason. Christian has become a guy that Jokic, when he turns and sees, he goes, yeah, man, let's run this DHO, you and me. And in the very beginning, I don't know if he was that. I mean, Jokic always trusted him, but there's the Jamal Murrays and there's the Torrey Craigs of, yeah, let's do this, or no, not you. And Christian is now a, yeah, let's do this guy, right? He's not your primary ball handler. He's not Jamal. He's not a pick and roll maestro. But can he run dribble handoffs with Jokic? Can he make a read? Can he put the ball on the floor? If there's a stunt and a hand in the way, I mean, can he navigate that? Can he get saucy when he needs to? I think we saw some of that come out in the preseason, and I'm excited to see him build on that because that's not, he's a shooting guard. Like, raising the ceiling on his ball handling is actually a reasonable request for a guy who's already, punched up his production. I think he can do this, and I think the Nuggets would benefit.
Yeah, I think so too, man. And that's the part of his game I'm kind of excited to see continue to grow just because he's so strong. Strong guys, man, when they have a hand, like Terrence Shannon Jr., you think about him, I actually don't think his game is very pretty. If you watch him play, it's kind of ugly, but he's got this big, strong frame that he only has to beat you by a quarter step, and then he's too strong for you to catch up to.
Yep.
James Harden has a little bit of this. He has a great handle, but he's like a strong body. Luka, obviously, right? Luka has a good handle as well, but he only has to beat you by a little bit, and then he can just hold you off.
Yeah.
Christian has a little bit of that, not the dynamic play, but I am kind of excited to see that piece of his game kind of expand. Let me see what else we got here.
Can I take you to a quote from David Adelman that I liked a lot?
Yeah.
David Adelman, I think, very concisely articulated what's cool about Christian Braun getting this extension. And he said, it's good to see somebody that gets it not just off talent, but off of work.
Yes.
And, that can get you in trouble in this league when you're kind of skipping ahead, thinking about what you deserve, what do I got to do to get it, and that can get you in some trouble. But this, speaking of Christian, he said, has been earned every step of the way. And I just think that's really cool, man. Like that's exactly what happened. This is a guy who high motored and dirty worked his way into $125 million. You don't like it's a lesson for honestly guys like Bones Highland, right? Like it's not come out here, maybe Jonathan Kuminga. It's not how many points can you score per game for every player in the league. For some of those guys, that's exactly what it is.
Right.
But for some of those guys, that's not your path. And by knowing exactly what his path is, Christian is going to make more money than he ever would have if he tried to be something that he's not. And that's a line Christian goes to all the time, that he's just going to be himself.
I think it really is a cool, I mean, there's all these little life lessons that you can kind of find if you like want to look at these things that way. But that is the thing that's so cool about CB is he came in and was like, did you see Mocan Elite had that great tweet where they were like, he wasn't the go-to scorer on his AAU team, wasn't the go-to scorer on his Kansas team, not the go-to scorer in the NBA, $125 million contract. And it's like, yeah, he was like, yeah, I know what I am. I don't need to do anything. I can be put in my box and still make it be the perfect version of it. So I'm happy for CB. I know people are worried about the contract. We'll get into some of that on the other side. I also have some notes from practice, and then I want to end the show talking about the guy who did not get a contract extension in Peyton Watson. I see a lot of Nuggets fans celebrating that. Be careful what you wish for.
Oh.
That might come around to the Nuggets here one summer from now.
Yeah, that is an interesting situation. You know what's interesting, Adam? Not my best segue. You can download Bet365 where it's never ordinary, and football is slowly eating the entire week. I know this bit's a little old, but like I just can't.
Yeah.
There's games on earlier in the morning now. There's games on Thursdays, Sundays, and Mondays. I can't keep track. Here's what I can keep track of. All of these sweet offers from Bet365 throughout the NFL season. Thursday Night Football, there's the $10 safety net bet. Sunday Night Football, there's the $365,000 jackpot. Monday Night Football, there's the 50% super profit boost token on SGPs. And I just want to get real with you guys and say, as far as betting on football goes, I'm a Giants fan. So not only will I never bet on football again, I might never watch football again. But if you do, and you want to watch your Broncos and you want to have some skin in the game.
Hey, real quick, man, Vogt hopped in the chat a little early.
I did admit right away. I was like, that was too early.
You did. You knew it,
I knew it.
By the way, we have like 4 people at ALLCITY that are Giants fans, and they all started clowning in the company Slack, like, oh, Broncos, donkeys, here we go. And then it was like immediately the wrong moment to do it.
5 minutes later, I was like, I know, but I'm a Giants fan. This is way too
It was
soon.
like 26-8, and you're like, this is a loss. I can feel it.
I said right away, they're losing. And they did. Anyway, Bet365, where it's never ordinary, like the ending to that game, unless you're a Giants fan. Use code DNVR365. When you sign up, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5. Win or lose, sign up, use the code DNVR365. Deposit $10. Place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You have to be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly, please. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. And then the second read, which I knew was coming and I'm super prepared for after I told you about Bet365. I'm really excited to tell you guys about Game Time. Game Time is taking the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Nuggets season is just around the corner. You might realize last second, if you didn't plan well, hang on a second. The fellas are home tonight. They're in Ball Arena, the fortress in the sky, and I don't have tickets. Fear not. With the Game Time app, the closer you get to tip-off, the better the prices get on those tickets that are up for sale. We all know there are folks out there with season tickets that don't make it to every game. Maybe they put those tickets up for sale on Game Time, or just folks who realize they can't make it. Either way, the closer you get to tip-off, the better those deals get. And it's got the Game Time guarantee, meaning you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price, plus with a little preview from your seat so you know what your view is going to look like. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today.
Alrighty, we are back here, segment 3. Let's get back into the practice here. There was one thing What's that?
Kale's comment. He's always loving Vogt's looking for the reads because he could just look up at the screen. It's just, it takes a while to get to load. It's got to load the script.
One thing I want to say about Christian Braun real quick to put a bow on this one is he did make a note of, I never changed teams in high school. I never changed teams in college. And so far I haven't changed teams in the NBA. I kind of think this is a big deal, man. In high school nowadays, there are a lot of kids that go to 4 high schools in 4 days. Will Barton went to 4.
Yep.
You know, like there's a lot of players that just go to these prep schools and they move around and it's almost opportunistic and there's all these money and deals involved. Then you get to college and the transfer portal and you do this or that. So, and then there's different guys like Christian who are like, yeah, I just went to a high school and then I went to a college and then I went to the Bros.
He's like, what do you mean you transfer? I just kept playing and then we won.
And then we won. Yeah, exactly.
All the time.
And so I do think there is something too. I mean, our Nuggets are we love them in part because they feel, even though they're not totally above or outside of the worst parts of the NBA, there's certainly some of that too. It is less than some teams, you know, and they do. And then Christian represents a little bit of that. It's our guy. You know, he's been around for a long time. I mean, and now he'll be along for a long time more.
He wants to be proverbially our guy here in Denver. And he said, I don't want to change in the NBA. I mentioned that this is the team that drafted him, so it means a lot to him that they invested in him. And he did even later. Like I said, this kid is very wisely looking at everything Jokic does and says and copies it. And Christian also said, I want to be a Nugget for my entire career. He just said it. And obviously that fits. Like that seems like something that could happen. CB on this deal, playing hard, playing well, endearing himself as he always has to the coaches, his teammates, the fan base. And also, you know, depending on exactly what this contract looks like year to year, you know, the cap is going to go up. And like, there's a chance that as Christian puts the work in, this looks like a better deal as we go forward. So it'd be great if Christian Braun was here for his whole career. He feels like a Nugget. He wants to be a Nugget, and it's a good day for the Nuggets.
There's a good chance he is in the leaderboard on several categories. I mean, if you think about him, he's got 6 years under contract because he got this one plus the 5 that he just signed for. If he plays 4 of those, that'll get him up to 7. 7 seasons, 4 of those as a starter. There's a good chance he's on the leaderboard for threes, leaderboard for steals, maybe even leaderboard for like rebounds and stuff or somewhere there. So Christian now, it's not that often that a player like Nuggets players to have played for 7 seasons for the Nuggets. It's a short list. It's not that many guys. So Christian CB might be one of those guys.
And man, as we pointed out, more than we all like to admit, as illustrated very well by your daughter Xing the players out. Alec Gwynn's fade out of the 7. I don't know if you guys have seen that video. Literally makes me emotional.
Yeah, it's tough.
More planks from the ship we started with have been removed than you think. Yep. And very few remain. And, you know, didn't really start with Christian, but Christian started here. And the longer that he can stay here and the more he feels like a part of the core, it'll feel more like that thing we've always loved from the beginning. Like, these are our guys. These are Denver's guys, and we want to see them win together.
Will the narrative change among Denver Nuggets fans now that CB has signed this deal? Because when you're a rookie on a rookie scale, everything you do is great. He didn't shoot the ball well in the playoffs last year. He was a sneaky reason the Nuggets struggled offensively.
Yep.
They just decided not to guard him, and he couldn't make him pay. That happens again, even though he still, as he reminded us, my contract doesn't kick in until next year.
Yeah.
So I'm still on a rookie scale deal. But it doesn't matter. You've signed it.
Yeah.
I do think that is one thing that is just different for all players is the fan base. They are all nice. They love me. The moment you don't make threes, they say he's not worth $25 million.
100%. I mean, listen, if Mike just made half as much as he made, he would be talked about very differently around here. But he didn't. And so every missed opportunity
100%.
in the playoffs cost his reputation dearly. And I get it. It will happen to Christian should that happen, right? And that's unfortunate. But Christian is also a guy that, I mean, I don't think he's going to lift his head and become a knockdown playoff shooter, but can he figure this out? He's a smart player. The roster has changed. He's working on his ball handling, his ability to read the floor. Are there ways he can take advantage of how Jokic is being guarded beyond just take and make wide open threes? Be nice if he hits them. But yeah, Christian will have his own bridges to cross here, and it'll happen in the postseason. I think in an 82-game environment, everyone's going to be pleased with what this kid has to offer, especially if he's really committed to defense. In the playoffs, it will be different.
So Christian, when he was talking, said he didn't love this negotiation because it kind of felt like you're on enemies with the people you love. That was something in there. I'm happy it's over. It was stressful because you feel like you're against people you love.
Yeah.
Well, imagine if you don't sign that contract, but you go through that entire process. That's the situation Peyton Watson finds himself in. Same thing, negotiations. Are you worth this? I don't think you're worth that. I think I'm worth this. You think that's contentious, and then you come to a deal and everybody's happy. No deal for Peyton Watson.
Is everyone happy?
And the reason I bring this up is, Peyton Watson obviously was at the center, in my opinion, and I feel very confident saying this, at the center of the Cold War for the first 3 years of his career here. He was Calvin Booth's guy. Calvin Booth traded a pick to be able to take a second player in that draft. Michael Malone did not like that. He did not think the Nuggets should take 2 picks and trade future capital. He wanted that capital to be used to bring in some veteran players. So I think that he was always on the outs with Michael Malone. We talk about the different role he had. And here you go 3 years into a tumultuous career, and then you have to go through that thing, and now you're not signed. I have to imagine the opposite is true for him. You just went to war, and you walked away empty-handed. So before anything, I will say this. I think Peyton Watson is a professional. I think he has a better head on his shoulders than probably people realize for a guy how young he is. And I don't think it's going to affect how hard he plays. But I do think it affects the long-term outlook of Peyton Watson as a Denver Nugget. I would bet that this is his last season in Denver, and I wouldn't even be surprised if he was looked at as a guy that could be moved at the deadline merely because even if he's playing well, you have to look at it and say, yeah, but we couldn't pay him back then. Are we really going to pay him next year? Probably not.
Right.
So do we just have to trade this guy at the deadline if he's playing well?
Right. You look at the layers of it. If he doesn't play well, you're thinking, well, this isn't an investment we really need to make. If he plays well enough, he's more expensive than he just was.
Right.
So you're thinking about it that way. And if he blows everyone's expectations out of the water, he's a teams might offer a lot more in restricted free agency than you're prepared for, right? Or want to match. Granted, restricted free agency is drying up a lot under the new CBA. Yeah. But to your point, no matter how you look at this, there's a chance that Peyton either doesn't play well enough or he prices himself out.
But if you're Peyton Watson, just think about it. You were at the center of this Cold War. Michael Malone, I think, treated him, or at least if you're Peyton Watson, you would feel, did I get treated fairly? Now I'm up for extension, you don't give it to me. Even if you go into next year, you play well, there's probably a thing of why would I want you guys to be the one? Please don't match whatever somebody gives me. Team can ultimately decide if they want to or not want to. But even if you play well and the team's like, hey, we were wrong about you, he's like, yeah, but I'm not going to let you be wrong about me again.
Yeah. And these guys actually seem very interested in me.
Right.
So I'm going over there. And and also consider, in terms of his development, the crossroads that Peyton Watson is at. They're trying to put the ball in his hands more this year, right? Or at least that was the plan in training camp and preseason, expanding his role. And man, did he sound excited about that.
Yeah.
But now is it, I want to show what I can do with the ball in my hands because it helps Denver? Or is it because it's a nice showcase to everyone else? And if it's the second one, I'm not knocking him for it.
Yeah.
This is just the reality of it. Things were looking really great for Peyton a week ago. But of course, this possibility was always looming. And for a young kid, it is a maturity moment and a sliding doors moment.
Not only that, though, and this is the most important thing, I think the Nuggets believe in Peyton Watson, and I think they would love to be able to offer him a contract. I think the truth of the matter was they couldn't. If they offered him another contract, they'd be locked into the second apron next year without some insane maneuvering that you don't expect, namely losing one of the starting 5.
Right.
And so I look at it this way and say, even if he plays well and has a prove-it year, I don't expect him to be on the Nuggets next year just because if he is, the only scenarios I could see it is if they traded one of Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, or Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson,
who, by the way, is 30 years old and will be going into a contract year next year. Yep. So you never want to let a contract expire. He'll be eligible for an extension. The Nuggets, the only way I could see them keeping Peyton Watson is if they saw him as a replacement for Cam Johnson. And then you move on from Cam Johnson's contract next summer. That seems highly unlikely.
Yep.
And if Peyton Watson has a great season and you kind of think that can happen, that's possible, great. But that's why I just look at it and say, I'm not sure he even makes it out this year now. And that to me is, I don't think when we look at this season, we've kind of anticipated that as how it would go. But now it seems clear that is very possible.
And if you're under the belief, as a lot of people in our chat are, I know you are, that they need Peyton Watson this year because how many defenders are on the roster, and because the second unit's going to have an interesting, put the ball in someone's hands problem. It's you're relying on a guy who might understandably be less concerned about the Denver Nuggets getting everything they've ever wanted. Right. And that's, again, I would say understandably in that scenario. I also understandable in my opinion is Denver not giving him an extension. he's in this really kind of tough limbo. But it's still on David Adelman to look him in the eyes and say, give us everything you've got, for X amount of days. And that's not easy. And that's part of why you see like a nice compromise with Christian Braun's camp and Denver's camp of, could Denver have maybe pushed a little harder for more concessions and used their leverage? Maybe. But do you want to sour this relationship over that? It's not worth it.
I think then you look at, if I just told you take Peyton Watson, don't replace him with anybody, take Peyton Watson off this roster, does your confidence in the season go down at all?
It goes down a little.
For me as well.
Yeah, it goes down a little. I mean, I look at Peyton as like a swing factor on this roster right now. I think
he might be the 7th guy, 6th, 7th, 8th guy, somewhere in there, but certainly one of the top 8, which is your playoff guys.
100%. You could do it without him. It's harder. It's harder. Versus if Peyton comes out and has a great year and shows real development, you are cooking with grease in the kitchen, man. Yeah. But it's a very, very, you're right. I like the way you talked about how we didn't, even though we all knew this possibility was there, we maybe didn't bake it into everything because, man, it was a Peyton Watson moment 2 weeks ago, right? 3 weeks ago in this organization. And now it's a different kind of moment.
I also wonder, I can't remember, he might not be able to trade the rookies when they go into the qualifying offer.
Trying to figure that out as well.
Not without their consent. So I think, if they consent to it, which, to be honest with you, he probably would.
Probably would.
Because unless Denver can say, hey, because he knows their salary, his agent knows their salary cap situation, and then he would just say, like, so you're planning on getting rid of one of the starters? If they can't tell you that, then, yeah, you'd rather go to a team where they are investing. So now you look at it and say, he doesn't make a lot of money, so you're not, even if you're trading him out, the only scenarios I could see is if Zeke's contract is bad, Peyton Watson, a team wants to sign him to a longer one. Could you give both of those guys away for somebody making $10 million on an expiring? And then it's like, is that player replace what Peyton Watson does? Is there a defensive-minded player who, if Peyton Watson is worth this, it's because his offense is elevated, he does something on offense? Is there a player out there for $10 million? I don't know. That's willing to eat Zeke's contract? If not, you're trading out a $3 million contract in Peyton Watson,
right? Which
isn't that much. Maybe it's $4 million. It's not that much. And so what are you getting back? Another rookie scale contract or minimum. So I just look at that and say, man, I kind of wonder if P-Watt is a factor this year after the deadline, and whatever you get for him might not be like that exciting.
And that if they take that path, next year may have to be a year where they, you know what? Put a pin in it. I'll put a pin in it.
Oh,
I'll put a pin in it. That's my bad, Kale.
Put a pin in it. We'll get to this on the other side.
Pull that pin out and just lob it. Lob it on the other side. The UC Health fan media takeover is underway. It's underway at 16th Street. UC Health is bringing a unique experience to 16th Street for Nuggets fans, where fans will get their professional media day photo taken, sent to them directly. It's a pop-up activation on the corner of Arapahoe Street and 16th Street. You're going to see some familiar faces like mascots, dancers. Streets are saying Katie Wingy is making appearances. It started today. It's going again tomorrow from 4 to 8 p.m. Actually, today it's still going until 8 p.m. Again, tomorrow, 4 to 8 p.m. Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. Friday, 4 to 8 p.m. And there are opportunities to win autographed items as well, Nuggets gear, trading cards on site. Enter to win prizes starting October 20th, which was yesterday. Pick up on site and on one of the activation days. Follow along, tag your media day photos to UC Health's social channels. That's at UC Health on all the platforms. What a treat. Look at that. And the next and final read, but not, they say last but not least, you know what I mean? Volo Sports, Denver's most popular provider of adult social sports leagues. And if you haven't thought about it, consider this as a kid, community, activity, getting outside, playing. It's all structured into your life. If you're lucky, if you're privileged. As an adult, you really got to go find it for yourself. And Volo is helping you do that. You can go play games like soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, and many more. And there's varying levels of competitions. Like if you're really going to play and try to win something and have some bragging rights, that's out there. If you're just looking to play beer in hand kickball and have a good time, that's out there too. Some people make beer in hand kickball a very serious thing, and I apologize if I offended those people. Playing with Volo is a great way to meet new people, make friends, be social, and you can do it in Lodo, Rhino, Highlands, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. Players can sign up as a free agent, small group, or full team, and all ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. Use code DNVR10, $10 off any Volo Denver League. Kale, 3 ad breaks is a lot, brother. I'm not in mid-season form. I was rusty. Woo!
You did it though, brother.
Oh, made
you
it
got
through,
it,
man.
man.
Made it through.
You got it, brother. So we were talking about this idea of losing Peyton Watson, and to me, it almost feels inevitable. I hope that's not the case. But even with Peyton Watson, you look at the Nuggets, they had a great offseason. Ben Wallace had a great offseason, being able to add 2 guys on a minimum, swap Sarge so that you could pick up Val, and all made possible the first domino, which was Cam Johnson, which freed up a bunch of money and flexibility. Denver's going to go into next summer backed into as much of a corner as they were this last one. Remember what a miracle it felt like.
Totally, man.
Next year, you have your starting 5 under contract, Cam on an expiring, eligible for an extension. Even if you don't give it to him, you have Val under contract, which I expect the team to decline his team option. I think he wanted to go to Europe. There was kind of a like, hey, come here. But even look at Denver's situation. It might make sense for them to lose Val.
Yeah.
Just to free up some flexibility. Zeke Naji still under contract. Hunter Tyson and Jalen Pickett still under contract. Julian Strother will be eligible for an extension. The Nuggets, before they get to anything, even if they lost Bruce, Tim Hardaway Jr., even if they lost those guys, even Peyton Watson, they still won't have any flexibility to sign people outside of these small exceptions and minimums. So I look at this and I say, this is the reality of the new CBA when you have guys under long-term contracts, and Denver does. Jamal, Nikola, also eligible for an extension, by the way, which plays into this. Because he might look around and they go through everything, and it's like, hey, man, we didn't have the luck we had last year where minimums just fell into our lap. So we're going to have a thin bench next year. It's Julian and Pickett, and we weren't able to add any other like meaningful minimums. But will you sign this extension anyway? I expect Jokic to say yes because I just think he wants to be in Denver, and I think that's that. But the reality of the situation is Denver's going to have to be as lucky/shrewd next summer as they were this summer, regardless of what happens with Peyton Watson.
Totally. And I don't mean to manufacture consent for something that's suboptimal right off the bat, but we should steel ourselves. Like the Nuggets, let's say the Nuggets had the perfect year this year and they won a title. And you go, yeah, this front office is trying to get better and they got us one. The very next year, they may have to prioritize flexibility like over, wow, we just got better. Because they don't have paths to. Because they don't have another Cam Johnson trade up their sleeve. It'd be great if they did, and if they do, they'll get credit for it. But there's a very real scenario where they go like, this is not an offseason where we get better like last offseason. This is about cap sheet management, and that would be disappointing. But it's also the reality of the new CBA that teams have to do it a little bit, and Denver kind of being more gun-ho in the previous CBA got them in a little bit of trouble already. Like they had to wiggle their way out of this, and they're going to have to do it again next year. So there's a lot of pressure and expectations on getting it all done this year. You want the championship expectation year to year, but this could be their best shot in a while, including going forward.
100%, man. So this is just the reality of the new CBA. Let's get to some quick hitters here. I asked Adelman what the purpose of practice has been basically since the last week. And so my surprise, he actually said it was a lot about putting in personal plays, ATOs, and individual player packages. Remember last week he talked about we put in some Cam Johnson plays and we did this or that. This is why I think it's so crazy. He always laments, if you listen to Adelman, he's a true like basketball X's and O's guy because he hates that training camp isn't longer. He wishes that they had another 2 weeks of preseason so they could put everything in. But he's like, yes, these last couple days with practice, we've just been putting in plays for everyone. Like, what's the Bruce Brown plays? What are the Val plays? What are the Christian Brown plays? And it just goes to show you that he even talked about guys not being in shape, and he said that's really the first 10 games of the season. You have to get off to a good start because you could steal games. Nobody knows what they're doing yet.
Right. And you have to think this is David Adelman's maybe favorite part of the process so far. He's had to do a lot of like organizing and thinking about the rotation and minutes in preseason, and training camp becomes a whole responsibility for a head coach. I think David Adelman probably really enjoys trying to install player packages and plays and thinking about what this looks like on the floor, on the clipboard, on the whiteboard, however you want to call it. So this is his time to shine. And he's right off the bat, he just seemed annoyed with preseason in general. Yeah. He really did. Now, they also seemed like they wanted to use it to give Peyton and Bruce reps, to play the guys into shape, although he was pleasantly surprised with the shape everyone was in.
Not everyone.
Well, sorry.
Because that was one of my big takeaways today. He kind of hinted at it. I know Big Val, he talked about the other day, he said Big Val's still getting in shape. So that's clearly one of them. But he today, because he's been saying guys that come into shape. Lately it's shifted to there are some guys not ready in shape yet.
Okay.
There are some guys. I think Val's one. I was trying to think who else looks like they're not quite in shape yet.
I mean, Jokic might be on that list.
Might be, yeah.
But I don't know. He's not going to directly call that guy out. Val makes a little sense. I would say everyone else to me looks ready to ball.
CB, Jamal, Peyton Cam
Gordon.
Johnson, Aaron Gordon.
Maybe Cam. I mean, Cam is working overtime, by the way.
He is working a lot every game.
Like from
every
training camp till now, he is there well after the official practice ends.
He just looks so skinny in real life, doesn't he?
Yeah. So game shape might not be like.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't mean he's not out of shape, but all right. Cam Johnson's goal is to be more available and play more than ever. So maybe he's really trying to like work himself up to this level.
Could be.
He wasn't necessarily. But man, is he in there working? Cam and Jamal, by the way, are going to have a battle all year long for last guy in the gym.
Yeah.
And Cam only won today by default because Jamal did media. But Cam lasted until the media scrimmage. So he's working. But the rest of the group, to me, maybe it is about the big fellas, man. I think the rest of them seem like they're good to go.
But it was interesting that he said a couple guys are still getting into shape. So there's just something to kind of...
You're right. But all the same, I think he was definitely pleased with Jamal's shape and not having to use the entire preseason. But he kind of seemed to resent the whole thing because it's not the real thing. And he'd like to get after that.
So I asked the last one I want to get to, and this was my own little fun one. I had no idea how Jamal would respond to these. Sometimes he hates questions that I think are interesting. But I asked him, what is one of the most interesting things about tonight to me? Tonight's, of course, opening night in the NBA. You know what it is? Michael Jordan's talking about basketball today. Michael Jordan. And I know I'm a little older, this or that, so Jordan means something different to me, but Michael Jordan doesn't talk about the game that much. He's kind of out of sight, out of mind. And I am so fascinated to hear, starting tonight, what he thinks about modern players. Like Steph Curry, he doesn't talk about Steph.
Horrible.
I mean, on the table.
Oh, you know what I mean?
On the table. Man.
You're like, hang on, brother, what?
First of all, Jordan is very secure in who he is, but he's also the world's biggest trash talker. And there's a little, not insecurity, but a little like wanting to win.
Yeah.
And so there's course like, Curry would never shoot those shots
that's
at me.
what I'm talking about. But you're right. I am curious about his perspective on the evolution of the game, of the greatest players today, what goes into that. Hopefully not too much of could they do this whenever. But I am interested in his perspective. A lot of people tell me he's the greatest of all time. So how could you not be, Adam? How could you not be? And it's on NBC, which also feels like, for the nostalgia folks, for the people who really enjoyed Jordan's era, there's a little bit of a play the hits factor going on tonight, man.
A little too much for my liking. The older I get, the more I like nostalgia. I tell you, this is my worst take. Although I think it's actually my best take. It's like, why are you booing me? I'm right. Round Ball Rock to me is like pure nostalgia. As a song, it's a 4 out of 10. But everybody's like, dude, yeah. Huh?
You're wrong.
Kel, I'm not surprised you like this one. It's pure nostalgia. Like, if you just think, if somebody turned it on, first of all, it's John Tesh, which I wish everybody had a point of reference for who John Tesh was, like in the 90s, for everyone to be like, dude, banger. It's ridiculous. Nonetheless, it is pure nostalgia, so I'll let people have it. I'm very excited, man, for tonight. And I'm actually sneaky excited. I don't know if I'm the only one. I'm excited for Amazon and NBC. It's different. It's new. I just want to see the game presented in a different way. It starts tonight.
I do too. And there are a lot of jokes about how now it's scattered and stuff and all this. As an NBA collective group, we have a real thing where I don't like how the league is this way. And then it swings a little bit and we're like, not like that. And you have other options now that aren't just ESPN. Having said that, ESPN should be better than ever with our guy, Tim Legler, doing a great job. Yeah. Obviously, he's going to be...
Dude, he is having a moment, man.
Having a moment, getting profiles done on him, and the great work he's done with Coach's Corner, which is the kind of content people have been clamoring for a long time. So, first of all, maybe ESPN's coverage is better than ever, but also, if it's something you're sick of still, it is cool to have more options, like just different attempts at storytelling, at presenting the game, and helping the league. Moments in the league have a certain look and feel to them, and it's on broadcast crews to nail that.
I'm telling you, John Tesh should be like Engelbert Humperdinck. If everyone was like, yeah, Engelbert Humperdinck has the greatest jam ever, man. You got to hear it. It's a banger. Everybody's like, John Tesh, the host of Entertainment Tonight.
Who, although I think passed away recently, right? But
Did he?
In his grave somewhere going, wait, really, guys? Really?
Like, I'm the guy? All right, we got some super chats. What do we got? The boy's dad.
If it ain't broke, the expression originated in the USA in the 20th century and is often attributed to Thomas Bertram Lance from 1931 to 2013, known as Bert Lance. Thank you, brother. I should have known you'd be the one to have the answer. Johnny Keene. Hey, guys, with the roster depth, is it important still that we finish top 4? With our depth, can we afford to go on the road in the playoffs? Before you answer that, Adam, I want to remind everyone at home to get the very tail end of this show online. It's overtime. Okay, now you can answer his question, Adam.
Look, man, there's a reason only one team in the last 30 years has won a championship that was not a top 3 seed. So if you're 5, just the odds are against you, man. I think that you have to get through at least 1, if not 2 series quickly. And I mean 5 games or less, maybe 6. To have to go on the road for round 1, you're just saying, man, yeah, you have a tough matchup right out the package. So I would say yes, it is that important. I think home court advantage matters a lot.
Good answer. Also, Brendan, Jordan is the GOAT. I believe you, and I believe you. I was a wee lad. I was a wee lad. You know what? I did live though in Glen Ellen, Illinois, and it was in the 90s. And I do remember, if I have this right, Michael Jordan was a big deal.
Yeah, he was a big deal back then. I will say it is funny watching the game's just evolved so much that it's like, what are we doing, guys? What are we doing?
I know.
Before we get out of here, since we're
John
in overtime,
Tesh is not dead. I apologize,
bro. I was gonna say, man. Now I feel bad. I never remember hearing this.
I put this on Google AI and on myself for using Google AI. I apologize, everyone.
Told you John Tesh was dead?
It did. Yeah, it's exactly what it said.
It told you John Tesh was dead.
It did tell me.
You guys can enjoy Round Ball Rock. I'm just telling you, it's a little.
John Tesh.
It's not my favorite fanfare.
Glad you're still with us,
Before
brother.
we get out of here, though, I do want to ask. We just had the written piece, and people should sign up, become diehards. Vogt does a great job writing really compelling articles throughout the season. I plan to write a little bit more. I had so much fun doing it. But real quick, what was some of your favorite parts of the things you wrote?
My favorite line was when I got to write about Spencer Jones and say that his jump shot looks like he's trying to create the 27th letter of the alphabet. But jokes aside, I was really proud of the Jamal Murray section. I think, we do a good job at this beat of kind of keeping our finger on the pulse from beginning to end. And I want you guys to just kind of follow those through lines with us, right? We know what the storylines are now. How do they evolve? And how do these players grow throughout the year? We're going to keep you locked into all of that, from this kind of commentary, from the chairs in the studio, to credentialed coverage, to feature stories. Rock with us this year at DNVR Nuggets. If you're not a diehard, go ahead and sign up, please. We will make it worth it for you. And there's a lot of perks as well, like free merch. Eric does a great job. I'll make sure we do a great job on the coverage. We're off to a great start with that season preview. Proud of it. Please go check it out.
I enjoyed. I got a little quirky. I wrote about Jalen Pickett and why I like quirky players. I enjoyed that one. Very short one. Wrote about David Adelman and the lineage of coaches there's really only 4 great coaches in Nuggets history, and there's 20 bad ones. So the odds are kind of bad if you just step back and look at it that way. And then I enjoyed writing about Jokic and prehistoric man. 2 of my extreme passions.
Your Jokic section and your Adelman section were really, really good. And
Appreciate
if they
it,
were,
man.
and I would also say that to you on the air.
I do know that, so we'll never know. We never know
great
which is which.
contributions from you. Harrison Wind can contribute as well. The whole staff's involved. So if you enjoy what we do, if you enjoy the written content, that's a great primer for the season.
It's really good, man.
And I hope you guys enjoy what we have in store for you all season long.
Tomorrow, preview episode of this show where we're going to make some predictions, talk about players. I can't wait for it. Everybody go watch the documentary, watch the Tarot episode, hit that like button on the way out.
We all silly like the mayor.